The palace drums were beating so loudly that the ground almost shook. Hundreds of beautiful girls, dressed in shining clothes, stood in front of the golden stage. Everyone waited for the prince to step out and point at the girl he wanted to marry. But when Prince Kalen finally walked forward, he did something nobody expected. He did not look at the rich girls wearing diamonds. He did not look at the powerful girls from famous families. He lifted his hand. He pointed to someone standing far behind the crowd. A girl wearing a torn brown dress. A girl with dust on her feet. A girl who came from the poorest part of the kingdom. A girl nobody believed deserved to be there. Her name was Liora, the orphan girl. The crowd gasped so loudly it sounded like thunder. But right when Liora tried to step forward, somebody grabbed her arm from behind and whispered, "You will never be the prince's bride, not while I'm alive." The voice was cold, dangerous, familiar. Liora froze. Who was trying to stop her? Why were they threatening her at the moment her whole life could change? Before she could turn around, everything went black. But let's go back to the beginning, because this story did not start in a palace. It started in a small broken hut on the edge of the kingdom. Liora had always believed her life would be small, like a candle that burned quietly in a dark corner. She was found as a baby by the village healer and raised with almost nothing. No parents, no fancy clothes, no birthday gifts, only hope. Hope was the only thing she owned. Every morning, she woke up before sunrise to fetch water for the villagers. Children her age went to school, but Liora worked instead. But she never complained. She had a soft voice, a brave heart, and eyes that sparkled even when she was sad. People would often whisper, "Such a pretty girl. Too bad she was born with nothing." But Liora always smiled and said, "One day my life will change. I don't know how, but it will." The villagers would laugh gently. They thought she was dreaming too high. But the kingdom was changing. News spread like wildfire that Prince Kalen, the richest and most powerful man in the land, was finally ready to choose a bride. The queen announced that every girl, rich or poor, could come to the palace for the selection ceremony. Girls screamed with excitement. Mothers danced. Sewing shops filled up as the rich prepared new dresses. But Liora? She simply watched from far away, whispering to herself, "A prince would never choose someone like me." She didn't know that destiny had already begun to move. One evening, as Liora carried wood to the silent forest, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned to see an old woman with silver hair and bright eyes staring at her. "Child," the woman said, "you must go to the palace." Liora almost laughed. "With what clothes? With what money? I don't belong there." The woman smiled strangely. "You belong more than you know." Before Liora could ask what she meant, the woman placed a hand on Leora's cheek and whispered, "Your life is about to change. But be careful, the closer you get to the palace, the more enemies you will make." Liora blinked. The woman vanished, just disappeared. Like smoke, Liora dropped the logs in fear. Who was she? How did she know about the palace? Why did she warn about enemies? This was the beginning of everything. The night before the ceremony, Liora sat outside her small hut, crying softly. She had no dress to wear, no shoes, no jewelry. Every girl in the kingdom was preparing, except her. "How can I go?" she whispered. But something strange happened. When she walked inside her hut, she found a dress folded neatly on her bed. A soft, simple, beautiful dress made of light blue fabric. Something she could never afford. But who left it there? There was no one in her house. No footprints. No open window. Just a dress. And a small note. "Wear this. Your destiny is waiting." Leora's hand shook. Fear and excitement mixed inside her. Someone wanted her at that palace. Someone powerful. Someone watching her. Liora walked hours to reach the palace. People stared at her, whispering behind her back, laughing at her bare feet. "Look at the poor girl. She thinks she can marry the prince? She must be crazy." But Liora kept walking. Her heart told her she had to be there. At the palace gate, guards tried to push her aside. Only real candidates may enter. But the queen herself stepped out and stopped them. Let her in. Everyone gasped. Why would the queen defend a village orphan? Liora entered the palace with shaky steps. She felt out of place. She felt small. She felt watched. But she never imagined what would happen next. When Kaelin walked onto the stage, every girl stood tall, smiling beautifully, trying to catch his eyes. But the prince looked past all of them. His eyes landed on Liora. And for a moment, he froze, like he knew her, like he recognized her, like he had been waiting for her. He lifted his hand. Everybody held their breath. And then he pointed at her. I choose her. The entire palace exploded with shock. Liora couldn't breathe. Her heart raced. Her knees felt weak. This couldn't be real. She tried to step forward, but someone seized her arm from behind. A voice whispered slowly into her ear. If you take one more step, I will destroy everything you love. Leora's blood ran cold. She knew that voice. But before she could turn, the lights went out. Everything went dark, and someone screamed. Screams filled the palace hall as darkness swallowed everything. Girls pushed one another. Guards shouted. The golden chandeliers flickered like dying stars. Liora couldn't see anything, only feel the cold hand gripping her arm like a trap. Let me go, she whispered, her voice shaking. The person pulled her closer instead. You were never meant to stand in the prince's light. The voice said, you are a mistake, a danger, and I will not allow you to destroy the kingdom. Leora's heart thumped painfully. She recognized that voice now. It belonged to Lady Serena. Serena, the most admired girl in the kingdom. Rich, beautiful, powerful. A girl who believed the prince belonged to her. But why did her voice sound so angry, so afraid? The lights suddenly flashed back on. Gasps filled the air again. Serena stepped back quickly, pretending she wasn't the one holding Liora moments ago. Liora stumbled forward, confused and frightened. The prince's eyes widened with worry. Are you all right? Prince Kaelin asked, taking a step down from the stage. Before Liora could answer, Serena loudly shouted, Your Majesty! That girl fainted and almost fell. She's causing chaos. The crowd murmured in agreement. Kaelin's jaw tightened. He looked unhappy but controlled. Everyone stay calm, he said firmly. No one is to leave. No one is to touch her. His words rolled across the hall like thunder. But even as he spoke, Serena's dark eyes flashed with anger. Liora realized something terrifying. Serena wasn't jealous. She was threatened. To understand why Serena hated her so deeply, Liora forced herself to remember the truth. She had always been invisible. Growing up, nobody looked at her twice. She swept floors, fetched water, sold firewood, and slept in a small hut that shook whenever it rained. Yet somehow, this simple girl had caught the attention of the prince of the richest kingdom. But Liora didn't know the truth. She didn't know the prince had seen her before. Many times. From far away. From the shadows. And each time she had unknowingly changed his life. But that truth was still waiting in the dark. For now, she stood trembling as Kaelin approached her. The great hall grew silent as Prince Kaelin walked down the golden stairs. His sharp gray eyes stayed locked on Liora, full of concern, confusion, and something deeper. The whispers began again. Why her? Does he know her? She's just a village girl. Maybe she's a witch. No, maybe she saved his life before. The crowd's words stabbed her like needles. Liora lowered her head. Afraid to look up, Kaelin reached her and gently touched her shoulder. Did someone hurt you? He asked softly. Her lips opened, but no words came out. Not because she was shy, but because she didn't know who to trust. Before she could answer, Serena stepped forward with a perfect fake smile. Your Majesty, she said sweetly, perhaps this girl is overwhelmed. She does not belong in a place like this. She might need to be escorted outside. Kaelin lifted his hand sharply. The entire hall froze. No one touches her, he said, his voice now commanding. She stays. Serena's smile cracked. Her anger returned, quiet but deadly. Leora's legs shook. She didn't understand why the prince defended her. She didn't understand why she was chosen. She didn't understand why Serena looked at her as if she were a curse. What if the whole kingdom hated her? What if the prince made a mistake? What if she was dragged to the dungeon for stepping where she didn't belong? She wanted to run. But Kaelin leaned closer and whispered, "Don't be afraid. I won't let anything happen to you." His voice, his eyes, his calm presence. Something about him felt familiar, as if she knew him or had once known him in another life. But the strangest part? Kaelin looked at her the same way. While the crowd argued and gossiped, Kaelin's mind drifted back to the memory he had kept hidden for years. The day he first saw Liora. He had been 14 years old, sneaking out of the palace to escape his training. He wandered into the village and saw a young girl giving her only food to an old beggar. She was thin, hungry, barefoot, yet she smiled warmly at the old man and said, "Eat. You need it more than I do." Kaelin had never forgotten her. Her kindness, her bravery, her eyes that sparkled even when she was sad. He watched her from a distance for years. He never approached. He never revealed who he was. But he never stopped thinking about the girl who gave away her meal when she herself had nothing. Now she was here, standing before him, and he knew exactly who she was. But she didn't. Not yet. Just when the hall seemed to calm, the queen stood up with her royal staff. Her voice echoed across the room. "Since Prince Kaelin has made his choice, Liora of East Valley will be brought to the palace tomorrow for the crown bride ceremony." The girls gasped. Serena's face filled with rage. Leora's heart almost stopped. "See crown bride ceremony?" she whispered. "That means," a lady behind her murmured, "that you are no longer just a candidate. You are the prince's official bride-to-be." Liora stepped back in shock. No, I can't," she whispered. She wasn't ready. She wasn't deserving. She wasn't prepared for a life in gold and danger. But the queen smiled warmly. "It is decided." Overwhelmed, Liora slipped away from the guards and ran down a quiet hallway. She needed air. She needed space. She needed to breathe. Tears streamed down her cheeks as her thoughts spun. Why me? What does the prince want? Why did Serena threaten me? What secret is hiding behind all of this? She pressed her back against a cold marble wall and closed her eyes. But she wasn't alone. A shadow moved behind her. A soft voice whispered, "Running away already?" Liora spun around, her heart jumping. It was not Serena, and it was not the prince. Standing before her was a silver-haired woman from the forest, the woman who left her the dress, the woman who whispered warnings, the woman who disappeared like smoke. Her strange eyes glowed softly as she stepped toward Liora. "I told you," the woman said, "your life would change." Liora trembled. Who are you?" The woman didn't answer. Instead, she reached for Leora's hand. "You must be careful, child," she whispered. "Someone in this palace wants to destroy you, and they will not stop until they succeed." Leora's breath hitched. "Who?" she whispered. The woman looked over Leora's shoulder. Her eyes grew cold. Then she said, "The person you least expect." The mysterious woman stepped closer, her voice dropping to a chilling whisper. "You are not just a village girl, Liora. You are part of something much bigger. Your birth, your past, your destiny. None of it is ordinary." Liora felt her skin prickle. My past? But I don't know anything about it. I'm an orphan." The woman's expression softened with sadness. "Yes, but you were not abandoned. You were hidden." "Hidden? Why?" "To protect you." Liora swallowed hard. This made no sense. Why would someone need to hide a poor baby? The woman touched her cheek again, gently. "The prince does not just choose brides. He chooses destiny. And yours is tied more deeply than you know." Liora stepped back, shaking her head. "No, this can't be true." "It is," the woman said softly. "And someone in the palace knows the truth. Someone who fears what will happen if you become queen." Leora's voice came out in a whisper. "Who are they afraid of, me or the prince?" The woman smiled sadly. "Both." Footsteps echoed down the hallway. The silver-haired woman instantly stepped back into shadows. The queen appeared with 2 guards beside her. Her eyes narrowed as she looked around. "Who were you speaking to?" she asked sharply. Liora froze. The woman was gone. Completely vanished. I was alone, Your Majesty," Liora said shakily. The queen's expression didn't change. She studied Liora like someone studying a puzzle piece that didn't fit. Then she said, "You must not wander alone. There are dangers in this palace you do not understand." Liora's breath caught. Was the queen warning her or threatening her? The queen stepped closer and whispered, "From now on you will be watched." Liora's heart pounded. By whom? Why? But before she could speak, the queen turned to her guards. "Escort her out of the palace. Tomorrow, she returns as the prince's chosen bride." As Liora walked away with the guards, she glanced back. For a split second, she thought she saw the queen's eyes fill with something strange. Fear. As the guards led her through an empty corridor, Liora noticed a small golden door half hidden behind a curtain. Something inside her felt pulled toward it. Just as they walked past, the ground shook lightly, almost like a heartbeat beneath the marble floor. The door glowed faintly. The guards didn't notice, but Liora did, and she knew one thing. Whatever secret the palace held, whatever truth was being hidden, it lived behind that door. Liora walked home with the guards, but her heart was not calm. Her mind spun like a storm. The prince chose her. Serena hated her. The queen warned her. A mysterious woman watched her. A golden door glowed in the palace wall. Nothing made sense. When she reached her tiny hut, she sat outside under the stars, hugging her knees and trying not to cry. "How did my life change in one day?" she whispered. She should have been happy, excited, hopeful, but all she felt was fear. Fear of the palace. Fear of Serena. Fear of the queen's strange eyes. Fear of the truth the silver-haired woman hinted about. "If my past is hidden, why?" Liora whispered. "And why is everyone suddenly afraid of me?" Wind rustled the trees. The moon glowed softly. Her heart shook. She had always wanted a bigger life, but now she wondered if the bigger life wanted her. When Liora was 6, she walked the fields and saw the palace shining in the distance. Huge, golden, beautiful. She remembered pointing at it and asking the village healer, "Who lives there?" "The royal family." The healer had said. "Will I ever go inside?" Liora asked hopefully. The healer laughed sadly. "No, my child. Palaces are not for people like us." But now, everything had changed. Liora felt a sting in her heart as she remembered that day. Was she really meant to be in that palace? Or was she being pulled into a place she would never survive? As she sat thinking, a soft knock came on the door of her hut. Tap, tap, tap. Not loud, not dangerous sounding, but strange. Liora stood slowly. Who is it?" No answer. She stepped closer. Her hand shook as she lifted the wooden latch and opened the door. Her heart nearly stopped. A small boy stood there, barefoot, holding a folded piece of paper. His eyes were wide with fear. He shoved the paper into her hand and whispered, "Run." Then he sprinted away into the darkness. "Wait!" Liora called after him, but he vanished behind the trees. She opened the note with trembling fingers. 3 words were written in dark red ink. "They come tonight." Her breath hitched. Who is coming?" She looked around nervously. The wind seemed to whisper in the darkness. The trees swayed like warning hands. She stepped outside and looked toward the village road, and that's when she saw it. Torches, moving fast, coming toward her hut. Her blood ran cold. Voices echoed through the night. "She lives here. Don't let her escape. Hurry!" Liora backed away from the door, her heart beating painfully. Someone wanted her before the morning. Someone wanted to reach her before she returned to the palace. Was it Serena? The queen? Someone else entirely? She had to decide. Run? Hide? Or face whoever was coming? Her hand shook as she grabbed her blue dress, the one left mysteriously on her bed. She didn't know why, but something told her she needed to keep it with her. The torches grew brighter, closer, louder. She had to move, now. She turned, ready to slip out the back door, but a shadow stepped inside the hut. Tall, silent, unmistakably human. Liora gasped and stumbled backward. The shadow moved toward her. And then, a familiar voice said softly, "Liora, it's me." She blinked in the darkness. Her breath steadied. It was Prince Kalen. "Why, Your Majesty," she whispered. Kalen held a finger to his lips and quietly closed the door behind him. "We don't have much time," he whispered urgently. "You are in danger." She swallowed hard. Who is coming for me?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked around her hut with sad eyes. "You lived here? Alone?" Liora nodded slowly. "Since I was little." Kalen clenched his fists, anger and sadness mixing in his expression. "You should never have been left alone," he said softly. "Not you." Liora frowned. "What do you mean? You speak as if you know me." Kalen hesitated. His eyes softened. Then he said, "I do know you." Leora's breath caught. "How? When? Why didn't she remember?" Before she could ask more, loud footsteps and torches approached the hut. Kalen grabbed her hand. His voice was barely a whisper. "We must leave." The door burst open. A group of angry villagers and palace guards stormed inside. "There she is." Grab the girl. She must not reach the palace. Kalen stepped in front of Liora. "She is under my protection," he shouted. The room fell silent. The guards froze. They hadn't expected the prince to be there. But one guard, a tall man with cruel eyes, stepped forward. "With respect, Your Majesty," he said coldly. "The queen gave orders. The girl must stay away until the ceremony." Kalen's expression darkened. "I never gave such an order. And neither did the queen." The man smirked. "Not the queen, you know." Before Kalen could respond, the guard lunged. Chaos exploded. Kalen shoved Liora behind him and blocked the attack. Furniture crashed to the floor. Torches flickered wildly. People shouted. Liora backed into a corner, trembling. She watched as Kalen fought the guard fiercely, faster and stronger than she expected from a prince. But then, the guard pulled out a hidden blade. Liora screamed, "Kalen, behind you!" He turned too late. The blade slashed across his arm. Blood splattered onto the floor. "No!" Liora cried, running to him. Kalen winced but pushed her back. "Run!" But she refused. She grabbed a fallen broom and swung it with surprising force, hitting the guard across the head. He stumbled, shocked. Kalen grabbed her hand. "We're leaving! Now!" They raced out the back door as the attackers shouted and chased them into the night. Liora and Kalen ran to the trees, branches cutting their skin, the moon lighting their path. Behind them, torches flickered as men searched everywhere. Kalen held her hand tightly, refusing to let go. "Why are they chasing me?" Liora whispered breathlessly. Kalen looked down at her, his face torn with worry. "Because they fear what you'll become. But I'm just a village girl." "No," he said softly. "You are much more." She shook her head, tears mixing with sweat. "Tell me the truth. What do you know about me?" Kalen slowed and gently held her shoulders. "Liora, I recognized you the moment I saw you in the palace." "How? Why?" His voice softened. "Because I met you many years ago. And because your past is tied to the throne more deeply than you can imagine." Her knees weakened. "No, that's impossible." But Kalen shook his head. "You were not abandoned, Liora. You were hidden." Words she had heard before. "Hidden from who?" she whispered. Kalen stepped closer. "From the people who are hunting you now." Liora felt the world spin. "But why? What did I ever do?" "You were born," Kalen said quietly. "And that alone makes you dangerous to some." Lightning crackled in the sky above them. The forest grew darker. Somewhere behind them, voices shouted. Find them. Search the forest. She could not escape. Kalen took her hand again. "We must reach the palace before they do. The golden door, it holds the answers you seek." Liora froze. "The golden door?" she whispered. Kalen nodded. "You saw it, didn't you?" "Yes," she whispered. It glowed. Kalen's eyes widened slightly. "Then the palace has accepted you." "Accepted me? What does that mean?" He didn't answer. "Not yet. Instead, he pulled her close as the voices grew louder. "We have to move. Now." Kalen led her deeper into forest until they reached an enormous old tree with strange carvings on it. "This way," he whispered. He pushed a knot in the tree trunk. A small stone door slid open at its base. Liora gasped. "What is this?" "A hidden passage," Kalen whispered. "Only the royal family knows about it. And now you do, too. Why would I?" But Kalen didn't let her finish. He guided her inside and pulled the stone door shut. They descended into a narrow underground tunnel lit by glowing crystals. Liora had never seen anything like it. "What is this place?" she whispered. Kalen answered in a low voice. "A path to the truth." As they walked, the tunnel lights flickered, almost like they were reacting to her presence. Kalen glanced at her wrist. "Liora," he whispered suddenly, "your skin, it's glowing." She looked down. A faint symbol, like a small golden flame, shimmered under her skin. She stumbled back in fear. "What is happening to me?" Kalen stepped toward her, eyes wide with shock. I didn't think it was real," he whispered. "I didn't believe the stories." "What stories?" "Tell me." Kalen swallowed hard. "The mark of the lost heir." Liora froze. "The what?" Kalen reached for her hand, his voice trembling. "Liora, you're not just anyone. You're not just a village orphan." He took a deep breath, then said the words that shattered her world. "You are the true heir to the throne." Leora's breath stopped. Her knees buckled. Her vision blurred. No, that's impossible." But Kalen looked at her with absolute certainty. "It's the truth. And now the entire kingdom will hunt you to keep that truth buried." Liora felt the walls closing in. Her whole life had been a lie. Her whole identity. A secret. And now, she was in the middle of a war she never knew existed. Before she could speak, the tunnel shook violently. A deep, booming voice echoed from the darkness behind them. "Run! Heir of fire, before I destroy you!" Liora screamed. Kalen grabbed her hand. But the shadow behind them moved, fast, powerful, unstoppable, coming straight for her. The underground tunnel shook again, harder this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. Crystals flickered violently. The air turned cold, thick and heavy. Leora's heart hammered against her ribs. The deep voice boomed again, echoing like thunder. "You cannot run from your destiny, little heir." Kalen pulled Liora behind him, gripping her hand tightly. "Stay behind me," he whispered. But Leora's body wouldn't stop shaking. What is that?" she whispered. Kalen didn't answer. His eyes stayed fixed on the growing shadow behind them. Something was crawling out of the darkness. Something massive. Something alive. The sound was wet and angry, like claws dragging across stone. Liora squeezed Kalen's hand. "Please tell me that's not a monster." Kalen's jaw tightened. "It's worse." The shadow rose taller. 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 And then two glowing red eyes snapped open. Liora gasped. The creature stepped into view. Its body was made of shadow and smoke, shifting like living darkness. Its claws were long and sharp. Its teeth glowed like white fire. A creature of nightmare. Kalen whispered. "A shade." Leora's breath caught. What?" "A guardian of forbidden truth," Kalen said. "Someone sent it to kill you before you reached the golden door." The shade roared. The tunnel trembled. And then it charged. "Run!" Kalen shouted. He pulled Liora as they sprinted down the narrow stone corridor. The shade slammed into the walls, shaking the ground. Boom! 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 Liora cried out as sharp rocks fell around them. "Kalen, it's getting closer." "I know, keep running." Leora's legs burned. Her lungs screamed. Her heart raced painfully. But the creature kept gaining. It was so close she felt its cold breath on her back. She stumbled. Kalen caught her before she fell, lifting her with surprising strength. "Don't stop." The shade roared again, the sound echoing to the tunnel like the cry of a dying world. It swiped its massive claw. Whoosh! Barely missing Leora's head. She screamed. Kalen yanked her forward, saving her by inches. The tunnel forked ahead, Two paths. Left or right? Liora gasped. Kaelin didn't answer fast enough. The shade leaped toward them, and the glowing symbol on Leora's wrist exploded with light. A bright golden pulse shot out of Leora's wrist. Floom! The light hit the shade like a blast of fire. The creature howled in pain, stumbling backward. Liora stared at her wrist in shock. What would I just do? Kaelin grabbed her shoulders, eyes wide. The mark is awakening, he whispered. You're starting to remember who you are. I don't remember anything. You will, Kaelin said. Soon. The shade roared again, angrier now. They didn't have much time. Kaelin pulled her down the left tunnel. Move, he shouted. They ran again, hearts pounding, the creature chasing. Liora glanced back once. Big mistake. The shade crawled along the ceiling like a giant spider, its eyes locked on her. Her scream echoed through the passage. They passed through a stone archway into a larger chamber. Kaelin slammed his palm against a carved symbol. A stone barrier dropped behind them, blocking the shade for now. Boom, boom. The creature slammed against the barrier. Cracks formed. It wouldn't hold long. Liora collapsed to her knees, shaking uncontrollably. Kaelin, I can't do this, she sobbed. I'm not an heir. I'm not anyone. I'm just a village girl. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Kaelin knelt in front of her. He gently lifted her chin until her teary eyes met his. Liora, you have survived things that would break others. You face hunger, loneliness, pain, without anyone by your side. She shook her head. I'm nobody. Kaelin's voice grew firm. You're not nobody. You are the heir of fire, the one the kingdom has been waiting for. She looked away, trembling. I don't want to be chosen. I don't want to be hunted. Kaelin's voice softened. Neither did I. But destiny doesn't ask if we're ready. Liora wiped her tears. The cracking grew louder. Boom. Crash. The barrier was failing. Kaelin stood and held out his hand. We moved forward. Together. Liora hesitated. Then slowly, she took his hand. They ran deeper into chamber. Symbols glowed on the walls. Circles, flames, crowns. Liora felt something tug at her chest. Something familiar. This place, she whispered. Why does it feel like I've been here before? Kaelin watched her carefully. Because this is part of your past. Before she could ask more, the chamber shifted with a low hum. A soft whisper filled the air. A woman's voice. Liora froze. Her heart stopped. She knew that voice. Mother, she whispered. Kaelin looked shocked. Liora, what did you hear? But she didn't answer. The whisper echoed again. My child. Tears filled her eyes. She had never heard her mother's voice. Not even once. She didn't know if she was imagining it, but her heart told her it was real. She followed the sound to a stone pedestal glowing with warm light. A large book rested on it, wrapped in red velvet. The whispers grew louder. Open the book. Find the truth before they destroy you. Liora reached toward it, but Kaelin grabbed her arm. Wait, it could be a trap. Liora looked into his eyes. I need to know. I can't run if I don't understand who I am. Kaelin hesitated. The shade roared in the distance, breaking through the last barrier. No time. He nodded. Open it. Liora opened the book. A burst of warm golden light filled the chamber. Symbols floated into the air, spinning around her. Images flickered before her eyes. A king holding a newborn baby. A queen smiling with tears in her eyes. A fire raging through the palace. A shadowed figure stealing the baby in the night. A fleeing horse. A crying infant left in a healer's arms. Liora gasped. That baby! That's me. Kaelin touched her shoulder gently. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you sooner. Liora stared at the floating images. So the queen, the real queen, she was my mother. Kaelin nodded. And the king was your father. Leora's voice broke. And they're gone. Kaelin looked away. Yes. Her heart shattered. She felt it physically, like something precious cracked inside her. I never even knew them, she whispered. Kaelin placed his hand over hers. You were hidden to protect you. Someone inside the palace wanted you dead. Liora swallowed hard. Who? Kalen opened his mouth, but before he could answer, the shade smashed through the chamber wall. The monster lunged forward, eyes burning with hatred. Kalen pushed Liora behind him. Stay back! The creature roared, spreading its massive claws. Liora felt panic choke her. Kalen, you can't fight that thing. I won't let it touch you, he said, drawing a glowing blade. The shade struck. Kalen dodged barely. Stone exploded where the claw hit. Liora watched in horror as the prince fought, each strike shaking the chamber. The shade swung again. Kalen stumbled. No! Liora screamed. Her wrist symbol blazed with golden fire. A huge burst of energy shot from her hand. Krakum! The blast hit the shade head-on, throwing it across the chamber. Kalen stared at her in awe. Liora, you're unlocking your power. She didn't feel powerful. She felt terrified. I don't know how I did that. You don't need to, Kalen said. You just need to stay alive. But the shade rose again. Stronger, angrier, and now its eyes glowed with a new hunger. It didn't want to kill her. It wanted to consume her. The shade stepped closer. Then, the shadows peeled away from its face, piece by piece, slowly revealing a human face beneath the monster. Liora's eyes widened in horror. She knew that face. She knew it very well, because she had seen it in the palace. She had seen it smiling. She had seen it pretending to be kind. The shade whispered in a chilling voice. Hello, Princess Liora. Liora's blood ran cold, because the face beneath the monster was Lady Serena's. Liora froze. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The monster's swirling shadows thinned, and the face beneath the darkness slowly formed into someone Liora knew too well. Smooth skin, cold smile, sharp eyes full of hunger. Lady Serena, but not the Serena the kingdom adored, not the beautiful girl pretending to be perfect. This Serena was twisted with hatred. Her eyes glowed red. Her mouth curled unnaturally. Her voice layered with the sound of many voices at once. Liora whispered, Serena? What are you? Serena grinned wider. I am what your parents feared. I am what the throne tried to hide. I am the darkness your birth awakened. Kalen stepped forward, holding his glowing blade. Serena stopped his madness. You're not yourself. Serena laughed, a chilling echo moving through the chamber. Oh, Kalen. Poor, foolish Kalen. I have always been myself. You're only seeing the real me now. The shadows around her swirled like smoke caught in a storm. Liora felt her legs weaken. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't anger. This was something far older, far darker. Serena pointed a clawed hand at Liora. You should have died as a baby. You were never meant to stand before the throne. Liora trembled. But why? What did I ever do to you? Serena's smile dropped, and her eyes filled with pure, burning hatred. You were born. The chamber shook as Serena stepped forward, darkness spilling across the floor like ink. Kalen blocked her, sword raised. Don't touch her. Serena hissed. She carries the blood of fire. She carries the mark of the true line. If she takes the throne, I disappear. Liora's heart thumped painfully. Disappear? Why? Serena tilted her head, shadows twisting around her like living snakes. Because I am bound to the false line. Kalen's eyes widened. You mean? Serena laughed. Yes, I serve the one who stole her crown. The one who hunts her even now. The one you trust. Liora felt cold all over. Who is it? Serena leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. The person you would never suspect. Kalen tightened his grip on his sword. Don't listen to her, Liora. Everything she says is poison. Serena smirked. Oh, Kalen, if only you knew the truth your mother's hiding. Kalen flinched. Liora stared at him. Your mother? The queen. Serena spread her arms as shadows pulsed around her. Ask him, little heir. Ask him why the queen wants you dead. Kalen's eyes filled with pain and something like guilt. No, Liora, it's not what she's saying. Serena hissed in triumph. Ah, you see? Even he doubts himself. Liora stepped back, her heart twisting. Kaelin, what is she talking about? Why would the queen want me dead? Why did the guards come for me? Kaelin took a shaky breath. I don't know, but I swear on my life, I will protect you. Serena rolled her eyes. Pathetic. You can't even protect yourself. Serena raised both hands. Dark fire crackled from her palms. The chamber darkened instantly. Kaelin shouted, "Get back, Liora!" A blast of black flames shot forward. Kaelin blocked it with his sword, but the force threw him across the room. He hit the wall and groaned, collapsing to the floor. "Kaelin!" Liora screamed. Serena turned to her. "Your prince falls easily, just like your parents did." Liora felt something ignite inside her. A spark, a flame, a fury she had never felt before. Serena stepped closer. "Now, little heir, let me finish what was started the night you were born." She lifted her hand to strike, and Leora's wrist symbol exploded with golden fire again. Foom! Serena stumbled backward. Shocked, Liora stared at her glowing arm. I'm not afraid of you anymore." Serena snarled. "You should be." She lunged, and Leora's power burst out like a storm. The two forces collided, gold against shadow. The chamber shook violently. The ground cracked. Light and darkness twisted around them in a furious swirl. Serena screamed. Liora pushed harder, her hands burning with bright fire she didn't understand. Finally, a massive shockwave blasted through the chamber. Serena flew backward, crashing into a stone pillar. Dust and rubble fell everywhere. But before the smoke cleared, Serena disappeared into the shadows. Gone. Only her echo lingered. "You cannot escape the truth, princess." Liora fell to her knees, breathing heavily. Her hands trembled with leftover fire. Kaelin crawled to her side, wincing in pain. "Liora, are you all right?" She looked at him with fear in her eyes. "I don't know what I did. I don't know how to control it." Kaelin gently touched her wrist. "Your power is awakening. The heir of fire controls flames of truth, but only if she accepts who she is." Liora shook her head. "But I don't even know who I am. I don't know this world. I don't know why I was chosen." Kaelin's voice softened. "You were chosen the day you were born. You carry the fire of the first queen, and the kingdom will either rise or fall because of you." Liora stared at her hands. Fire flickered faintly under her skin. "I'm scared, Kaelin." "I know," he said, "but you won't face this alone." For the first time, she believed him. A warm light glowed at the far end of the chamber. Liora stood slowly, drawn toward it. Kaelin limped beside her. At the top of a short staircase stood a door made of pure gold, tall, majestic, covered in ancient symbols. The same door she had seen in the palace hallway. Her heart quickened. "The golden door," she whispered. Kaelin nodded. "It appears only to the true heir." Liora reached out her hand, and the door glowed brighter, responding to her touch. But before she could make contact, a soft wind circled the room. Then a voice whispered right behind her ear, "Don't open it." Liora spun around. The silver-haired woman from before stood behind her. Her eyes glowed with warning. Kaelin drew his sword. Who are you? Why you keep following us?" The woman didn't look at him. Her gaze stayed locked on Liora. "I told you, child, the door holds truth, yes, but truth can destroy." Liora stepped back. "What do you mean?" The woman shook her head sadly. "You are not ready for what lies beyond that door. If you open it now, you may never return." Kaelin stepped between them defensively. "What danger lies behind it?" The woman's voice dropped to a whisper. "The truth of who betrayed her family." Liora froze. "You know who did it?" The woman nodded slowly. "Yes." Leora's eyes filled with tears. "Tell me?" The woman sighed. "I cannot. Not yet. If you hear the truth before you are ready, the fire inside you will consume you." Liora, clench your fists. "You expect me to keep running blind? People are hunting me. Serena wants me dead. I don't know who to trust." The woman stepped closer. "You can trust me." Kaelin blocked her path. "No, she trusts me." Liora looked between them, confused, scared, overwhelmed. "Please," she whispered. "Someone tell me what to do." The cavern grew silent. The woman spoke softly. "Walk away from the door, or lose everything." Kaelin spoke firmly. "Open the door, Liora. This is the only way to learn the truth." Two voices, two paths, two destinies. Leora's hands trembled. Her breath shook. Her heart pulled in opposite directions. She stepped forward, reached for the golden surface, and the door pulsed with bright fire. Just as her fingertips touched the gold, a voice echoed from the other side. Soft, broken, familiar. "Liora, my daughter, help me." Liora gasped. Her knees buckled. That voice! That voice! She knew it. Her mother, the real queen, alive, inside the golden door. Kaelin shouted, "Liora, step back." The silver-haired woman yelled, "Don't open it." But Liora couldn't move. Her mother's voice called again, "Please, open the door, before they kill me." The chamber shook violently. Fire burst from the symbols. The golden door began to unlock. The golden door groaned as ancient locks turned. Click, click, click. Liora stood frozen. Her mother's voice, soft, broken, calling her name, echoed again from the other side. Kaelin grabbed her arm. "Liora, stop. We don't know what's behind it." The silver-haired woman reached for her other arm. "You're not ready. The truth will destroy you." Liora pulled away from both of them. Tears filled her eyes. "My whole life I have been alone. If my mother is alive, if she needs me, I won't leave her there." She placed both hands on the glowing door and pushed. Light exploded from the cracks, blinding the chamber. Kaelin shielded his face. The silver-haired woman covered her eyes. Liora stepped forward into the light. The light wrapped around her, warm, familiar, like a mother's embrace. Then the chamber vanished. The tunnel vanished. Everything vanished. She stood in a glowing room with white walls made of fire-shaped patterns. And on the floor, a woman lay weak and trembling. Her long golden hair spread around her like sunlight. Her skin pale as moonlight. Her eyes, tired, soft, full of love, lifted to Liora. "Liora," she whispered. "My daughter." Liora fell to her knees. "Mother? You're real? You're alive?" The queen nodded slowly. "Yes, I have been alive, imprisoned in this sealed chamber, since the night you were born." Liora touched her mother's hand gently. "Who did this to you?" The queen's eyes filled with tears. Someone who wanted the throne. Someone close. Someone powerful. Leora's breath shook. "Serena?" The queen shook her head. "No, Serena serves a true enemy. But the true enemy is blood. Royal blood." Liora froze. "Royal blood?" The queen whispered, "Yes, the one who tried to kill you. The one who sent Serena. The one who wants my throne. Is the queen." Leora's heart nearly stopped. "Kaelin's mother?" "Yes." The truth hit her like fire. The queen continued, "When you were born with a mark of fire, the crown knew you were the true heir. But my sister, Kaelin's mother, wanted her own child to rule." Liora trembled. "She betrayed you?" "Yes. She tried to kill me. She tried to kill you. But loyal guards hid you and sealed me behind this door." Liora wiped her tears. "I don't understand, why didn't Kaelin know? He was only a child. He was told I died. He never knew the truth." Liora felt her heart shatter for Kaelin, for his life, his lies, his pain. She whispered, "Mother, what do I do now?" The queen placed a trembling hand on Leora's cheek. "You must finish this. You must stop her. The kingdom needs its true queen." Liora swallowed hard. "But I'm scared." The queen smiled weakly. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is walking through fear with purpose." Liora closed her eyes, and for the first time, she felt ready. Light exploded again. Liora found herself back in the chamber. Kaelin ran to her. "Liora, are you all right? What happened?" Liora looked at him with sad eyes. "Kaelin, your mother isn't who you think." Kaelin froze. My mother? Liora took a deep breath. She locked my mother away. She tried to kill me as a baby. She wants a throne for herself. Kaelin's face went pale. No, Liora, that can't be true. The silver-haired woman stepped forward. It is true. And Kaelin, your mother is coming here right now. The chamber shook. Footsteps echoed from the tunnel. Cold, slow, commanding. Kaelin turned toward the sound, fear in his eyes. Mother? The queen entered the chamber, her crown gleaming like ice. Soldiers followed behind her. Her eyes were cold and sharp. Kaelin, she said calmly, step away from that girl. Kaelin tightened his grip on his sword. No. The queen's eyes narrowed. Kaelin, I said step away. No, he repeated louder. She told me the truth. The queen smirked. So the little orphan knows how to speak. Liora stepped forward. I know who you are. I know what you did. The queen's smile faded. Do you? Liora raised her wrist. Golden flame flickered beneath her skin. The queen stepped back in surprise. So, the mark awakened. A shame. You were supposed to die before reaching adulthood. Kaelin's face filled with heartbreak. Mother, why? The queen didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed locked on Liora. Because she is a true heir. Not you. Kaelin dropped to his knees as the truth stabbed him. The queen walked forward. Liora cannot be allowed to rule. If she takes her rightful place, everything I built collapses. Liora, clench your fists. You stole the throne. You stole her voice. You tried to steal my life. The queen raised her hand. And I will finish what I started. Dark fire burst from her palm, but a sword blocked it. Kaelin stood up and stepped between them. Mother, if you touch her, you will have to go through me. The queen's eyes turned black with fury. So be it. The chamber exploded into chaos. Dark fire, golden flames, steel clashing, stone cracking. Kaelin fought bravely, blocking his mother's attacks. The silver-haired woman summoned protective spells. Liora stood trembling, her powers pulsing under her skin. Serena suddenly appeared from the shadows, lunging at Liora again. But Liora didn't step back. Her wrist burst into fire, and she struck Serena with a wave of golden flame. Serena screamed as the shadows peeled away from her body. She collapsed, no longer a monster, but a defeated, powerless girl. The queen roared, "Enough!" She launched a massive blast toward Liora. Kaelin jumped in front of it. The blast hit him directly. "Kaelin!" Liora screamed. He collapsed, smoking, barely conscious. Her heart cracked. No, not him. The queen raised her hand for the final strike. "You die now, little heir." Liora stood slowly. Her hair glowed with golden fire. Her eyes burned like suns. Flames danced across her skin. She whispered, "No." The queen hesitated. Liora stepped forward. "You hurt my family. You took my crown. You tried to kill me." Her voice grew louder. "But you forgot one thing." Fire exploded around her. The queen stumbled back in fear. Liora lifted her hand. "I am the true queen." A beam of golden fire shot from her palm, striking the queen with blinding light. The shadows around the queen shattered. Her crown fell. She collapsed to the ground. Defeated, silence filled the chamber. The queen lay motionless. Serena lay unconscious. Kaelin breathed weakly. Liora rushed to him. "Kaelin, please stay with me." He smiled faintly. "You did it. The kingdom is yours." "No," she whispered. "It's ours. You stood by me even when it hurt." He closed his eyes, but he was alive. The silver-haired woman stepped forward. "It is time, Liora." Liora felt something warm and powerful rise inside her. The chamber glowed. Flames swirled around her, forming a crown above her head. The woman bowed. "Your Majesty." Leora's eyes widened. "Me?" "Yes," the woman said softly. "You are the Queen of Fire, the true ruler of this kingdom." Liora looked at Kaelin, at the fallen queen, at the golden door. Her heart filled with strength. "I will lead with truth, with kindness, never with fear." The flames around her flickered in agreement. The kingdom had its queen. At last, days later, the real queen, Leora's mother, was freed from the golden door. She stood beside her daughter at sunrise, tears of pride in her eyes. Kalen recovered from his injuries and stood loyally at Leora's side. The people gathered to see their new queen. Liora walked onto the balcony. The crowd gasped at her beauty, her bravery, her glowing fire. She raised her hand. "My people," she said softly, "I am Liora, daughter of the true queen. Today, I take back the throne that was stolen from my family, not for power, but for peace." The crowd cheered. Her mother smiled. Kalen bowed. And Liora, once a lonely orphan, became the greatest queen the kingdom had ever seen, not because of her fire, but because of her heart. Thank you so much for watching this story to the end. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel to support our growth and to enjoy more amazing stories like this. See you in the next story.